Welcome back to a new episode of Coach's Corner, Football Edition. I'm Jake Lancer with Daniel Lynch for HWTV, and today we're joined by not Coach Huerta. Oh no, we have a special surprise for homecoming. First, the man, the myth, the legend, also known as the air raid guru, the one and only 8-time EuroLeague MVP, Coach Stan Bedwell himself. And alongside him, the leader of the defense, linebackers coach and fan favorite, Coach Brock Baldwin. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. This is truly what the people have been wanting, and we're ecstatic to be bringing it to them. The Wolverines are currently on a 3-game heater going into this homecoming battle against the 1-4 St. Genevieve Valiants this Saturday.
And before we get into any football questions, can you just give a little bit of background information, how many years you've been coaching here, where you've coached before, and so on?
Go ahead, Stan.
Okay. So, originally from Arkansas, and after college in 2006, I started my career playing in Europe. I played until 2019, and I coached for 7 years of college ball in the fall during that time because the European season is usually in the spring and summer. And, so I coached at colleges in Mississippi, North Dakota, Minnesota, Indiana, and then last year I got to play and coach in the Spring League, which was a professional league on Fox. So, first time doing high school ball and new experience, but really enjoying it. And I've been here since April.
Awesome.
So, I had to medically retire after my first playoff game my senior year of high school. So I graduated in 2017 on a Thursday, and then I think my first practice as the freshman linebackers coach was on Monday. And I've been coaching ever since. So I spent about 5 years at Westlake High School running the defense, linebackers stuff over there. And then this is my second year at Harvard Westlake, and I'm psyched and loving it for sure.
Awesome.
Can you both just talk about what it's like being a coach at Harvard Westlake and what your jobs entail?
Yeah. I run the offense and basically coach the quarterbacks, receivers, running backs alongside Coach Kevin. And, you get up every day, you watch film, you schedule practices. We have an order of the plays we're going to run in practice, so you make that list, and then you got to make the plays for what you want the scout team defense to do against that. So more than anything, it's just a lot of film work and desk work. But, that's, I think, football for all coaches, basically.
Yeah, Harvard Westlake is definitely unlike any other thing that I've experienced in schooling and in football. And, I'm fortunate enough to get to kind of be the second head on the two-headed monster, the defense with Coach Huerta. And he makes things so easy, and we just get to get so creative. And like Coach said, a lot of film work, a lot of rewatching practice and getting after it. And, it's just a lot of fun watching defense, getting to get creative and apply it to our guys and go watch them do it. It's awesome.
And let's go back to last game against Burroughs. I think that game really stood out. It showed just the future potential of both the offense and defense. They both had great games, were very connected. How do you think this manifests and shows what the future is going to be like for this Harvard Westlake football team?
I'm super excited with where we're at. I think we started off the year kind of a little slower than we all wanted to. A lot of first-year guys, a lot of kind of bumps and bruises and stuff, things that are going to happen in a football season. But I think once we kind of hit the ground running and caught that rhythm, we're a tough team to stop. And I think the kids are finally having fun and playing together. And, when you're having fun on the football field, there's not much else you can do. It's a pretty fun sight to see. So I think we're kind of in that groove, and we're really starting to rip, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, losing so many seniors from last year's team, and then most of the seniors we have this year are either first-year players or they were injured last year. So, one thing we had to talk to our guys about is just that it's their time to step up and make the plays that, there's not JT or any of the guys last year that were doing it. They're not here anymore. It's your time to shine. So I think those first few games, they just kind of had to get that confidence in themselves that, we actually can be a good football team and we can make the plays and win. And I think that second game at Venice, when we played a really good team, really close, and could have came out on top, I think that's where our guys kind of realized, okay, this will work if we can just all get together and do what the coaches are telling us. And I think each game since then we've improved week by week, and so we're all really excited to see where the rest of the season heads.
Wanted to add one thing to Danny's question. Looking at the game last week, it was pretty evident that, especially early on in the first quarter, you get a fumble recovery from Bill Coleman, interception from Sam Christopher, and a couple 4-and-outs also. How was the defense's effort of stopping the Burrows offense? How did that really set the offense up with some great field position, which really allowed him to take an early lead?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think when you're able to, football is all about momentum, and especially defense. It's an energy thing, right? Coach Huerta might not want to hear this, but if you got some mojo and some juice and you're smacking people around, that's about as easy as it gets, right? So when we're able to kind of demand that momentum and create that energy early, the offense can just feed off of it. And I mean, when the air raid's on, it's on, and you guys have seen it. And I mean, it's a lot easier to score from your own 35, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool to be complimentary and kind of get after it together as a full unit and let everybody feed off each other.
Totally.
Yeah, Harvard Westlake has an upcoming game against St. Genevieve's on homecoming. And I mean, I was just looking, and you guys only have one common opponent of Burrows, and Harvard Westlake did win and St. Genevieve lost. And how does this go into your preparation for the game, and also this being your first league game? Like, how does this affect the way you guys practice?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really compare scores from game to game. Burroughs is a good team. St. Genevieve, their record might not show it, but they're a good team too. They played a really tough schedule early on. From an offensive standpoint, St. Genevieve and Burroughs are very similar on defense. They move guys around a lot. They like to blitz. They like to play a lot of man-to-man coverage. So for us, it's kind of nice for our offensive line because they're really prepared for 2 weeks for this game by preparing for Burroughs last week. So, from an offensive standpoint, it's just going out and continuing to execute the game plan better and better each week and, not turning the ball over. And that's one thing we've been pretty decent at doing is not turning the ball over very much, but one thing we really have to improve on this week is scoring in the red zone. We got to turn those 3 points into 6 and 7 points every time, and if we can do that, I think we'll be just fine.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, records are records. We started off 0-2, and it was a much different conversation in our locker room, right? But I tell the guys on defense every week, it's us versus the mountain. It's us versus us. If we cannot defeat us, we're a pretty tough team to go against. And I think understanding what they're trying to do and how we can line up against it, but at the end of the day, just being us and playing our ball, and that's what's going to make us successful.
Yeah. Coach Bedwell, over the past couple of months, I've been hearing air raid this, air raid that, all over the place. And, while Danny and I may know what exactly an air raid offense is, can you explain it for our viewers listening at home?
Really, it's more so about how we practice and how we game plan. I think a lot of people say the term air raid just thinking, if you throw the ball a ton, that's air raid. And it's not really that. It's, everything we do is based on repetition and practice. So we're running the same plays over and over again. We don't run very many plays, but we just want to perfect all of the plays we're running. And then it goes into the game plan and how we practice it. So we practice a part of the game plan each day of the week. And so we'll never go into a game running a play that we haven't practiced during that week. And that's a lot different from like most offenses that you see these huge call sheets that have 500 plays that you can never run. We carry about 40 plays into every game. And, on the field, it's just about, no huddle, getting into the right play, doing different tempos, going fast at times, slowing it down at times. And we say throw the ball short to people who score.
When having a high school team also, obviously they have other commitments with school and things like that. So how does having a smaller play sheet actually allow guys on the team to be better prepared for Fridays on the field because they have less plays that they have to know?
Yeah, well, first of all, these are probably the smartest players I've ever coached from college or professional level on. So, I mean, these guys do a great job of picking things up. But, yeah, obviously, the less you have to think, the faster you can play and the better you can execute. But I think that, for our guys, with their, I guess, mental capacity, the best thing for us is that we can add a lot of tweaks and add a lot of motions and move guys around, and they understand the concepts of the plays. So, we're always telling them, I know, early on they struggled to learn some things and, said, hey, if you go into biology or, chemistry, whatever class you take there, you're going to really lock in the classroom and you're going to take notes and you're going to study it and get good at it. And we need you to have that same mindset in football that you're studying, learning, and what we're doing is very simple. This is like grade 1 stuff. You just have to put a little bit of time into it every day, and if you can do that, then there's nothing we're going to do that's going to be too complex, because I'm not that smart of a guy myself.
Coach Baldwin, as Jake earlier said, you are a fan favorite. I mean, I feel like everyone can just recognize your voice on the field. You're just a huge personality, and like just hearing you talk to you're such a motivational speaker, and you seem like you have such a different coaching style than like what you usually see. And how do you think the style just goes into how you coach, and how do you think that affects your players?
I mean, I think first and foremost, being a younger kid, I was in high school a couple years ago, right? Like, so I think the kids can kind of attach to that already. And I mean, I've been around guys who, aren't always positive and aren't always psyched to be there. And, it's easy to tear somebody down. It's harder to build them up. So I just try to stay as positive as I can. And I believe that if you create a good relationship with the kids, it goes a lot further, right? They'll do a lot more for a coach who they love than a coach who they fear, right? So, I mean, I've been welcomed with open arms into the private school community. It's something I was never a part of. I mean, I spend too much time at the beach as it is, so I never knew how I was going to get welcomed in. But, I mean, it's been open arms, and like I said, I mean, they've just been able to, or given me the opportunity to be able to be creative and let loose. And, we always write on our play sheets for defense, and I always tell the guys, like, #UBU, and it's just, everyone thinks, oh, Ubu, what is that? It's like, no, you be you. Like, go out there and do your thing. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll hit the drawing board and go again. But if you're true to yourself, I mean, the possibilities are endless. And that's kind of who we are as a team, and it's who we are as a staff. And I mean, it's probably just the long hair and the cowboy hats. That's why they recognize me.
Awesome.
Also, I just want to highlight some of your younger players like Aaron Milburn, Aiden Greenfield and Bill Coleman. I mean, they're just such forces on the field, and I think that stands out since they're all juniors, younger players. What does this say about your team going into next year, and also just how you have such strong players that are younger that can still bring such like magnitude on the field? Like, what does that say about your team, you think?
I mean, I think, like, first and foremost, we have such a strong bond as teams. Nobody feels like everybody has their roles, right? Santiago, Josh Dixon, Henry Wendorf, those are all leaders on the team. You expect certain things out of them. But there's not much expectations. There's not much pressure. There's not much roles as individuals on the team. Everybody gets to go out there and try their best and do whatever they need to do on any given play. And I think it gives the opportunity for younger guys like Aiden, like Aaron, like Samuel, even kids like Camilo Arroyo, who's a freshman starting on varsity defense. Like, that's something difficult to do, but when kids can just go out there and let loose and be themselves and trust the process and trust the scheme, I mean, it says a lot about what we're trying to do behind closed doors as a staff, and it's finally starting to show up on the field. So we're all just really excited about it for sure.
Yeah, guys like Aiden, who played quarterback last year after Henry was injured, and when I got here, he wanted to play quarterback. And obviously this year with our system, it really fits Henry's strengths. And, had the conversation with Aiden, although he wanted to play quarterback, that, I thought he could help the team better at receiver and ultimately could probably help himself if he's trying to play college football as a receiver, because he does a lot of good things, as you see every Friday night. And, it's just that lack of selfishness of saying, okay, if this is what the team needs, then that's what I'll do. And, all these young guys are just finding their way. They're finding their parts. And, not just the junior class. You go down to, Camilo Arroyo and guys like Ben Simmons.
Yep.
Freshmen that are in right away, and Andrew Saw, that are playing and really contributing against guys a lot older than them. And, I mean, all the young guys are doing great. And, as great as the senior class is, it's a small class. And, I mean, you got to be really excited about the future because there's some great young talent here. It's a lot of fun.
Coach Bedwell, as a former professional quarterback yourself, what have you seen out of Henry Wendorf in these past 3 games that's really allowed him to take control of the offense?
I think it's just his mental preparation. I mean, he understands football. He understands our system, and I'll say that probably better than anyone I've coached in college. He understands what we're trying to get out of it. So, I mean, yeah, he's got a strong arm. He throws a nice ball. But the best thing about Henry is the intangibles. He can realize the pass protection, or he can switch the pass protection according to what the defense lines up and does. He switches the plays. He's always getting guys in the right position, moving the running back over to a different side, or it's those things like that you don't really see from up in the stands, that you don't really understand how valuable he is. And if he didn't take control of the offense like that, we would probably look a lot different than what we do now. So as good as all the physical things are, it's the mental aspect and the preparation and just the leadership, that he's always positive on the sideline. He's fiery on the sideline and in practice. And it really, gets the whole team to rally around him. So he's a great quarterback to have.
Yeah, maybe we can't see it from the stands, but it's definitely making an impact on the record. The last 3 games have been phenomenal to watch. On the other side of the ball, Coach Baldwin, this St. Genevieve team, very run-heavy offense. How do you guys plan on clogging the trenches and forcing them to air the ball out a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with how we get aligned. They do 45 different things on 2 plays, right? Like, so first down, they got this, second down, third down, whatever. It's keeping the game plan simple and keeping our guys confident. If we can line up quickly, confidently, and calmly, right, I think we're going to be in really good shape. And it definitely doesn't hurt to have guys like Santiago and Bill Coleman and Josh Dixon who are wrecking balls. I mean, I talked to Santi yesterday and I said, when we walk out on Saturday night, I just want to see carnage out of you. So, I mean, when you have a big beast like that and he can just go push guys around, it makes the job a lot easier. But it's trusting the game plan, trusting the scheme, and just going out there and doing what we do, wrapping up, tackling, bringing dudes to the ground. And I think we got a good opportunity on Saturday night for sure.
We've talked a lot about Henry Wendorf in this episode and just how great he's been as of late, but it's no secret he's gotten a lot of help from the guys around him, Josh Dixon, Aiden Greenfield, all the talented wideouts that are on the field with him. How does having a talented group of wide receivers allow you guys to do different things with the offense?
I mean, it's definitely, when you look at the system, I never would have had the career I had if it wasn't for this system, because it doesn't necessarily require you to be the greatest quarterback or obviously the biggest or the strongest armed. Essentially, you're playing basketball on grass. So you're really the point guard out there. And, if you're the point guard and you got 4 guys that can score around you, then you're probably going to be considered a pretty good player. So, I mean, the quarterback's job is just to get the ball as quick as he can from point A to point B, and then those guys are the ones that make the plays. So it's vital. There's nothing more important than that.
Yeah. And then lastly, on the defensive side, Coach Baldwin, although he's primarily an offensive player, how does having an experienced big man up front with Kai Fauché really help the D-line?
Oh, man, Tiny. First off, Tiny's my guy. Very special kid. Very just awesome to be around. I mean, you don't have to play the position. You don't even need to be close to the same position group. You watch how he attacks practice and attacks the film room, attacks meetings, and you just learn from him. I mean, his tenacity, his focus, his effort, his leadership is something that a coach always wants to have in the locker room. It doesn't hurt that he's 6'11", 500 pounds and a beast, right? Yep. But I mean, just in going against him every day in practice, you're getting better. I promise you're not getting worse. The few times we do get to have him on defense, I mean, you have to double team him or you're going to pay the price, right? And he just a weapon like that is something that doesn't come around very often, and you take advantage of it when you get it, and you hope he remembers your name when he moves on to bigger and better, right? So it's definitely a fortunate thing to have for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Good luck to you guys on your game this weekend. I'm Danny Lynch with Jake Lancer. We'll see you next time on Coach's Corner. Enjoy the game.